one of the things we're going to work on today is keeping a little quieter tone. I think everybody will enjoy that a little bit more, and we're going to talk about that throughout the assembly. While we were listening to that great music, we switched from clapping to just trying to do a quiet snap. And that's just one thing, that's one example of something we can do to make it still really fun, but a little bit quieter. What do you think? Can I get a thumbs up on that? Yeah. Well, happy Friday, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start with the announcements. So I always say good morning. Today is March 10th. It is a day 1. Recess will be outside, that's right. Which means you need all of your snow gear. You need all of your snow gear, your winter gear. Thank you. We want to wish Mrs. Valancourt a very happy birthday. We're going to try something out. I hear you already getting started. But we're going to still try to use a little bit of a quieter voice, but we're going to sing to her. What do you think? Yeah. Are you ready? Okay, and let's see, Mrs. Kelly, maybe you can kind of put your hand, if we're getting a little too loud, maybe we just go like that, and we'll just try to work on it a little bit. Have a little bit of self-control. Are we ready? Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe. Happy birthday to you. About things like emotional intelligence. What do you think? Do you think I checked with Mrs. Valancourt before singing to her? Yeah. I did. I wanted to make sure she was comfortable with that, and she said that that was okay. So, thank you everyone, you did a nice job. Lunch, no surprise here, will be pizza, assorted vegetables, assorted fruit and milk. We do have some cancellations today. Mrs. Kupal, Mrs. Gilman's classes are canceled, and Miss Fuller's classes are canceled in the morning. We will now stand to say the pledge. And one of the things, and I know that this is newer for us, it's something we're trying out, but it's coming directly from what our community needs. We are going to try to keep a little bit lower level today. So as I hear students starting to shout at the end of that, that makes me think we're not necessarily trying to work to respect our environment. I need everybody on board with that. Does everybody understand? Yes. Okay, thank you. So we're just going to review really quick. Remember that we're going to be safe throughout the assembly. And part of that is being safe so everybody feels safe physically, but also emotionally, and feel safe with our ears, and feel safe inside of us. Okay, so we're going to work on keeping it quieter. We're going to be respectful, which means being a good listener. We're going to be responsible. I know all of you have taken care of your personal needs before coming, and that we're going to work to be a positive participant in today's assembly.
Okay, so Mrs. Sexton has been talking a lot about trying to keep a lower voice level. And I wanted to sort of explain why. So we've classified people into two different categories. Do you know how like deer, when they hear a loud noise, they get startled and they might run away? You know about deer, right? And do you know red squirrels? Like they shout and make a lot of noise. You ever hear a red squirrel? They're very noisy. Like they never stop talking. So when you think about yourself, are you more a red squirrel or a deer? So I'm going to try something new. Instead of saying true pride, we're going to do something a little different for this assembly. Not all of it. Sometimes we'll still do that. But if you see somebody in the audience or an adult with their hand up like this, I want you to use that as a signal to quiet down and look towards the front and listen to what people are saying. Because that way, when we're saying, if we say prove pride, you guys are making a lot of noise, you don't always hear us. So we're going to use this as a symbol that you need to start quieting down and listen a little bit. Okay? So, squirrels, deer. Everybody's thought about it? You know which one you are? Yeah. How many of you think you are a deer? Like, you don't have a lot of letters, right? We're not a deer. Okay? So, how many of you think you're a red squirrel? You love to make noise. Okay? Yeah, they like it's fine. We're 50-50, right? Okay. You're both. Some of you are both, maybe. So, I heard from people after the assembly. I heard a couple things. I can't stand all the noise. I heard that from the deer. And I heard from some red squirrels, they said, you know what, I would not like to go to those assemblies if I can't just scream my head off. That's what they love the most about it. But when we're talking about our community and feeling safe here and wanting everybody to be a part of it, we don't want to scare the deer. Okay, we don't want them to feel like they have to run away from our assembly and not be a part of it. So, red squirrels? I love that you're noisy. I love all the noises you make. But I want you to remember that we have deer in our audience. And we want them to be here too. So you can say you're a red squirrel for the playground. So I want to try something with you guys today. So I learned that when you talk, your voice box vibrates. And when you whisper, it doesn't. So I want to try them, okay? So first, I want you to try to vibrate your voice box and talk. When I say pride, you say starts here. But I want you to say it in sort of a normal voice and not a loud voice, okay? Ready? You want to try it? Through pride.
Starts here.
Oh, that was nice. Wow. That was really nice. Okay, so now I want you to try it so your voice box doesn't vibrate, so you're whispering. Okay, ready? I'll do it too. Did you feel the difference? What's interesting is I'm an adult and I didn't know that. And I learned something new. So let's try whisper voice. Prove pride. Ooh, that was nice. That was really nice. Alright, so I want you, red squirrels, I want you to be mindful of the deer. And deer, I want you to be patient with the red squirrels.
We've just had an example of self-control, haven't we? Can anybody make that connection for me? How is what we just did an example of showing some self-control? I'm going to come back to Leland. I saw your hand first. How does this connect to self-control? so we're thinking about how we might affect others, and we're adjusting what we do. So we're controlling what we're doing so that we're not having a negative effect on somebody else, right? Because we all live in the same forest, right? Do squirrels and deer live in the same forest? They sure do. We've got to respect each other. Social intelligence, and I think it connects, doesn't it? All right, social intelligence is when we're thinking about other people's feelings and their motives, and kind of trying to understand why they might feel the way that they feel, or why they may be doing what they do, right? How many of you think, just show me with a thumbs up, how many of you think that by thinking about the voice level, we're still celebrating, we're still showing our pride? How many of you think that this is an example of emotional intelligence, because we're thinking about how everybody feels? Yeah, I think so too. Gratitude. I think this was our first assembly, wasn't it? In November, we talked about gratitude. Who can give me a positive example of something that they are grateful for? Example of gratitude.
Like at lunch sometimes, how kids say thank you, and that's usually amazing.
That's a great example. Do you think that people work very hard to prepare those lunches? And when you say thank you, how do you think that makes them feel inside?
And then I'll tell you when to zoom back out.
Yeah, you bet it does. It's important to say thank you.
Let's see if
Is this good?
All right. Zest is something that we have a lot of, isn't it? Okay. Who can remember what zest is? Who can share an example of zest?
She moved. You and me have to work on the phone because I'll switch.
Okay, you might have a zest for math, right? Do I have a fifth grader that wants to share an example? You might be excited. You might put a lot of extra hard work in, right? Those are different ways we can show zest. And optimism. Having hope, having confidence. No matter what's going on around us, still believing that we can find that positive silver lining in what's going on and moving forward. Okay? Let's think about this a little bit. Who can give me an example of something to be hopeful for, something that they hope for the future maybe and that they're having optimism about?
Like have a good house.
Okay, so that might be something that you're optimistic about, right? I have a question. What do you think? Do you think I'm optimistic that we can solve this voice level and noise level? Why do you think I might be optimistic about that? Do you want to ask for a friend's help? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Because he wants us to know that he's best for us to trust us.
That's it. That's exactly it. I have trust in you, right? I believe in you to do that. That's a beautiful answer. Thank you.
So we're on to our 6th character strength. You guys are doing great. So impressed. So our 6th character trait is grit. And I don't mean sandpaper. It might not be a word you've heard before, and some of the words I'm going to use are kind of big, but listen to the message. So perseverance and passion for long-term goals. So perseverance is a big word, but what it means is you stick with it. And not only stick with things that are easy for you, you stick with things that are hard. We want to have a mindset when we have grit that even if we can't do something, we can't do something yet. And with effort and dedication and work, will eventually be able to do it, right? That's what grit is. So when we look out in our society, in our community, when we look out in our society, community, we see a lot of people who are very successful, but what we don't see is the effort that they took to become successful, and that's what grit is. And I have a little video to show you that kind of explain it a little bit more.
Hey guys, it's me Sky, and today I'm back to teach you guys about perseverance. Perseverance, or grit, is the drive that helps you get past the hard stuff, to get what you want. Without perseverance, you won't get far in life. For example, let's say you want to learn how to code your own games, but you have to read and learn a little bit of coding, and this may be a little hard. So you try harder, you stick with it, and after some frustrations, you do it. You got it done, and did it to the best ability. This is perseverance or grit. Perseverance is the drive that helps you keep working even when you want to quit. Without perseverance, you may end up choosing not to do anything. Many kids think that skill comes naturally, that if we're good or not good at something, it's because we're either gifted or not. The problem with this belief is that it leads many kids to give up on things. Plus, it's simply not true. Even naturally gifted people have to work hard to be good. For example, I played violin since I was 5 years old. People say I'm really good, but I know the reason I'm good is that I practice daily. It did not happen by accident, that I picked an instrument and played it to perfection. It happened because of my perseverance and grit to make it happen. So, do you have a grit? Is there something in your life that you're passionate about? You don't have to wait until you're 18 to start planning your amazing future. Start dreaming right here and right now. You don't even have to pay money to dream. Just close your eyes and do it. You don't have to do this journey alone. Join me. Let's create a mastermind group and brainstorm together. I don't want to do this journey alone either. If you guys like this video, go down and hit that like button and subscribe button.
Don't worry, I liked her.
So I found this picture, and I really loved it for the purpose of showing you about grit. Because when we see success, we see the top of an iceberg. And I don't know if you know this, but most of an iceberg, when you see it, is underwater. And that's true of success. Most of what that person has done to become successful, you never see. You don't see them spending hours at home working on something. You don't see all the classes that they took or the research that they did. You just see the success, which every person in here is capable of. There is no winning and losing. There's only winning and learning. Sometimes things don't go well and are hard. Sometimes you see something that your teachers are presenting to you and you just don't know it, or it's difficult, or you find it hard right from the first eyesight of it. But if you keep trying and you dedicate yourself to working hard, that's what grit is, and you can be successful no matter what the task is. We have Mrs. Roy. Oh, hello, Mrs. Roy. Would you like to come do some bookmarks for us?
That's going to be a good picture.
Good morning.
your February Reading to the Core bookmarks so we can draw some prizes. And remember, we need to read for 20 minutes for at least 20 days, have it initialed, and you can drop it in the box. It's right on top of the laptop cart if people need to borrow one, so you know where it is. And our first prize for a Happy Meal is Tag and Link. And as he's on his way up for another Happy Meal, Layla Moore. Ticket to Regal Cinemas. Kimberly Lopez. And our second movie ticket. There's a lot of bookmarks in here this month, so that's great. Xavier Yu. Our Texas Roadhouse Kids Meal. So I'll draw 2 names. I'm going to put her back. Sorry, Addie, I put you back. I know. Grace and Love. Hold on. Come here. And Dawson Millette. A book. I'm going to draw 2 bookmarks, and you can follow me out into the lobby. Alexander Baker. And Dane Sears, more 4th graders. So if you want to be eligible for next month's assembly, make sure you hand in your March bookmark at the end of the month. Your March bookmarks, I know you don't have them yet. They were late coming from the printer, so they have been delivered and they should be in mailboxes within the next couple of days, and then you will have them.
Thank you, Mrs. Roy. I didn't even have to do it. Some of you were like, oh, she wants us to be quiet. People aren't hearing me. So you raised your hands. That was excellent. So we have a really special guest for you today to talk with you about mindfulness. So Ms. Pitcher Bouillet is this, I'm not sure I said her name right. Boy, I knew it because you did that for us. She's here to speak with you about mindfulness. Please be a respectful audience.
Good morning, crew. Crew cried? Crew cried?
God's here.
Do you think I'm a deer or a squirrel?
Deer.
How many of you think I'm a deer? Raise your hand. How many of you think I'm a squirrel? Raise your hand. How many of you think I was a squirrel when I was a kid?
Oh my God.
That's exactly what my mom says. I think I'm a little bit of both. How many of you feel like maybe you're a little bit of both? Sometimes you want it quiet. Sometimes you want it loud. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about mindfulness, and we're going to do a few different activities. I'll try not to take too long. So when you hear the word mindfulness, I want you to think of 2 things. A scientist, and look at the scientist up there. What does she have in her hand? A magnifying glass. So when you class, you observe things really, really closely. You look at it, you listen, you observe it, you watch everything about it. What's that? Does she have contacts now? Okay, good. And then the superhero, you see the superhero? No. The superhero, what does the superhero do? Saves the day, right? Makes good decisions. So when you hear the word mindfulness in kid language, I want you to think scientists and superheroes. So we're going to teach you how to observe things going on in yourself, and you're going to be your own superhero by accessing your breath. Make sense? Okay. So the first thing I want you to do, or I'll invite you. Yeah, go ahead. I've got about 25 days of planning in this segment. So this mindfulness will help you learn how to focus and pay attention. How many of your teachers say, focus, pay attention? Do you ever hear that? Do you even know what they mean when they say that? Like, how am I supposed to do that? Yeah, you know what that. You know what I'm talking about. So you're going to learn how to pay attention. Okay, hands down. Proof God? You're going to learn how to pay attention to your mind, your body, your breath. And the last thing, you'll just realize everything that's going on around you. Now, this takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, so hopefully you'll be up for some practice. So I want you to, we're going to learn just a little bit about your brain. Pretend you have an upstairs brain and a downstairs brain. Okay, so everybody make a fist and tuck your thumb inside your fist. So your upstairs brain, tap right here. This is right here, now tap right here in the front. That controls your thinking part of your brain. All the good decisions you make, all the planning, everything that's going in focus, that's your upstairs brain. Okay? The downstairs brain controls your breathing. Everything your body does on its own is in your downstairs brain. But it's also your 911 call center in the downstairs brain. So your body just reacts sometimes really fast to keep you safe. So imagine that you're walking across the street and a car comes. What do? You move away really quick. Did you use your upstairs brain or your downstairs brain? Did you have to think about it if you did it really quick? No, you use your downstairs brain. Sometimes when you experience something that makes you really upset or really happy, you go offline and the upstairs and downstairs are not talking to one another. So we want them to work together. If somebody says something that might hurt your feelings, it's going to hijack your amygdala and you're going to go offline and you're going to be more in your downstairs brain. When everything is all and well, you're using your upstairs brain, but you want to use both together. Okay, ready? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to this bell. Okay? So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and if that doesn't feel okay, just kind of stare at a spot on the floor. Find a spot on the floor. I'm going to ring this really beautiful bell, and when you can't hear it anymore, I want you to put your thumb up. But if you can still hear a little tiny bit of it, keep your thumb down. Okay? So you can close your eyes or just gaze down at the floor. Time. If you can hear it, thumb is down. All right, congratulations. You just completed your first mindfulness of listening activity. Was that hard to do? No. Were you really focused? Okay. Number 2. How many of you have seen these balls? How many of you have, how many of you actually have one? One of these. My friend Michaela's going to come up and help me out. And if you have one of these, or maybe your teachers have them, and maybe if not, I'm probably going to get a big order to request them. We call this a breathing ball. It has a better name, but I just like that. So you can stand on this side. And so we're going to breathe and show you what it's like in your body. And I want you to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And also sit on your body, so that's it. Or on your knees, that's fine too. Okay, so when we breathe in, when we inhale, we're going to breathe in our nose and out of our nose. Try to go in and out of your nose. Okay, so ready, Michaela? We're going to inhale together. Ready? Ready? Go ahead, Michaela. Inhale.
What do you notice in your own body is on the inhale? When we breathe in, what happens to our body?
It expands.
Ooh, I like that word. It expands. It gets bigger, right? When you breathe deep into your belly, your body gets bigger. I didn't hear that question. Ooh, it's pretty big, right? Thank you, Michaela.
Okay, so you just did a heart and belly breath. I think we're going to do that one more time together. So heart and belly breath, you put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. You can close your eyes if you'd like, and if not, what can you do? You can stare at the ground. Okay, so on the inhale, we're going to breathe in our nose. Go ahead, inhale. Feel that expansion getting bigger. Exhale. Feel that contraction and getting smaller. 2 more times on your own, okay? Go ahead. And one more time. Okay, so what's actually happening in your brain? So if you are really upset or really, really happy and excited, sometimes it's really hard, right? Like you don't know what to think, you don't know what to do, you can't make a good decision, but if you do a heart and belly breath, it's going to make your upstairs brain and your downstairs brain work together. We good? So that's number 1. Okay, how many of you get really, really angry? We're humans, right? We all get angry. I want you to try to roll your tongue now. Watch me. This is really hard, and some people can't do it, and it's a genetic thing, and that's all I know. And if you can't do it, that's okay. So this is rolling your tongue. And if you can't roll your tongue, just pant like a dog. Or a lion. Okay, so ready? So when you get angry and really upset, this is called the taco breath or the cooling breath. So when we practice this breath, try to keep your, we're not spitting, right? We're just like breathing slowly and through our tongue. So this one, we're breathing in our nose, and we'll exhale out our tongue. Ready? Inhale through our nose. Roll. 2 more times. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out your tongue. And one more time. Do you remember what that breath is for? What do we use that one for? When do we use the cooling breath?
When you're angry.
When you're angry or upset. It's going to put your brain back online. Okay, I think you need to burn some energy. What do you think? Okay, so this one is when you're really tired in the afternoon. And your teachers are like, pay attention, wake up. How many of you feel that way sometimes? Okay, so this one, I know I'm asking for trouble on this one, but it's okay. So I'm going to ask you to stand. Ready for the next direction? You're going to do this one super quiet? Well, not quiet when we're doing it, but now you're going to spread out just a little so that you don't hit the person next to you. And folks on the bleachers, if you're on the bleachers, don't do the last part because somebody might roll down and you can do this in a classroom. So this is called bunny breath. Bunny breath. And bunny breath gives you energy. Those last 2 breaths bring your energy levels down. This one brings your energy levels up. So you're ready to learn. So watch me. So we're going to sniff through our nose 3 times and exhale out our mouth. So it goes like this. Can you try that? Okay. Next step. Good ride. So on the first bunny sniff, bring your arms up like this. Now next sniff, bring your arms to the side like this. I can only use one hand. Inhale, next sniff is up. And exhale through your legs. And back up, we're going to do it a little bit faster. Ready? Okay, one more time really fast. Ready? Okay, have a seat. that really beautiful bell. Michaela, if you could put your hands low on the bottom like that and then ding it with the red on the side. Go ahead and see if you can hear the bell. And I'm going to invite you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Eyes are closed or gazing down. And since it's Women's History Month, I'm going to ask you all to bring to mind a really special woman in your life. Okay? Heart and belly, a woman. Maybe it's a mom, it's Women's History Month. So this is a silent, so we're silent. Just think of a special woman or girl in your life. Maybe it's a mom or a grandma or a teacher or a friend. And just take a moment to think some really happy thoughts and send them some well wishes, gentlemen. And make sure if that person is still around that today you tell them something special and wish them a happy Women's History Month. Thank you so much, Prue Bride. It was so fun to be with you today. I miss kids terribly.
Thank you so much for coming to join us today. I just want to share something, students, because I don't think we mentioned this part, but Mrs. Pitcher-Bouye is our assistant superintendent here. So I want to take a moment and show some gratitude, and I'd like you to join me. Can we say thank you for coming? Okay. So now we're going to look ahead at next month, and it's going to be curiosity. And I'm thinking to the mindfulness presentation that we just saw, and there was one picture that makes me think about curiosity, and I'm curious if you think of the same thing. So what two pictures did we just see, and which one might be like curiosity? What do you think? Oh, okay, because a deer might be curious. Yep, that's possible. Let's think to the next one. So what else did we see?
Scientist.
Let me hear more about that. What did they have in their hand, the scientists? Oh. Yeah. Yes. And what does that help them to do? Yes, that's exactly it. Nice job. So what it reminds me of with curiosity, we're exploring a wide range of information when trying to draw a conclusion, including information that challenges our own initial assumptions. So when I think about that magnifying glass, that helps us to see what we can't necessarily with our own eye, right? How many of you felt a little unsure trying to roll your tongue? Was that something that you may not be totally comfortable? How many felt, I'm not totally comfortable trying it in front of everybody? Okay, but we tried it, right? So that's another example of trying something that we might not be totally comfortable with. We're not sure how that's going to feel, so that's also working with our own assumptions, okay? But you gave it a shot. So at this time, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring our assembly to a close. I really appreciate all of you trying to try a new voice level. We're going to close with one more. Peru Pride.